What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I break down what's going on with the overall market thus far, what's going on with the market going into tomorrow, and why this close is going to be very important as we're approaching a very, very critical level on SPY and for many other tickers out there. But before I break into all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit $500 into the account, you are guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 free stocks. The offer ends soon, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, looking at SPY, we're seeing a very interesting trend. As you know, SPY had a double top leg formation. We got this big rejection off 503, and since then, it's just been continuing to downtrend the last couple of trading days. So with SPY downtrending, the real question is what's going to impact it and what do I see for the very, very close near term future. So don't forget that a big factor for the markets is going to be Nvidia's earnings tomorrow after the market closes. It's going to be very exciting. We'll see what happens with it. We have one more close coming after this close today, and then we have Nvidia's earnings. So make sure you're ready, make sure you're prepared. I also want to warn everyone that for Wednesday, which is tomorrow, we basically have more data coming out. Most of the data is very minor in the morning, but we have a bunch of Fed speakers, and then we have the FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, they're important because we're going to get more insights from the Fed, and it's going to affect the current Fed projections. So be careful. I'll be talking more about the FOMC minutes tomorrow, but a lot of things are coming out for the markets for tomorrow. It's a very important day. Now, what's going on with the chart right now for SPY? So as you guys could see, we got a double top leg formation. We rejected here, came down, pushed back up, rejected up here, came down, got a little liquidity grab, and since then it's just been straight down since Friday. It's just been continuing to sink and sink and sink. This morning it popped up very close to the mid 498s to grab liquidity again, and it just continued to sell off as the bears are gaining control. Now, SPY broke below 496, and if anything, it kind of is like struggling to get back above it. So the next critical support is going to be close to the 494s. We actually reached that level today. If we lose 494 or close below it, we're going to turn a lot more bearish. There's going to be a risk of it coming all the way down close to 490. If we close above 494 today, there's going to be some hope for SPY to try to hold up. So be very careful, guys. We're approaching a very critical level. The last time we got this little back test of 494 before we saw this thing launch. Now we're getting very close to retesting it again. So be very careful. There is a risk of SPY coming down more. It's still looking relatively weak. It's still downtrending. Make sure you watch that critical support at 494. Right now, where it is doesn't matter as much, but 494 is going to be key. So we'll see how SPY does right here. On top of this, I just want to call out Tesla. Tesla's not looking as great. It's on another downtrend. This is exactly what we predicted. And now it's just barely holding this channel right here. So we have this channel which is developed. This is from the bull flag. We'll see if this even plays out at this point. Does Tesla get a rebound, tries to break this resistance to push all the way back to the 200s, or does Tesla fail, right? Those are both possibilities. Now, so far, it was trying to hold the bull flag, and then today it's been on the lower end, barely holding up. So it's not looking too good for Tesla, if I'm going to be honest with you. Now, this could change depending on Nvidia or any pieces of news, but as of right now, those things haven't come out, and Tesla is still downtrending. We have resistance now at 192. Our support is just barely holding this thing up around 190. If we lose that, could get very close to the 188 to 187.5 area and back to 186, 184 in those low levels. So far, Tesla is downtrending, looking relatively weak compared to the market, not looking too good, and still favoring bears a bit more. Tesla is still trying to hold this flag, so it is still possible it tries to rebound, but it's looking quite weak, so please be very careful. Just wanted to give you guys a warning about that. For the QQQ, this is looking relatively weak. I called out these levels. I told you that if 425 broke, watch 423.8. We actually bounced around 423.5, so a little bit below the previous support, but still was very close. And now we're just shuffling in the 425s. Not looking too good as we've sold off quite a bit on the triple Q. So watch resistance close to 427 if we do try to push back up. That's going to be critical. And watch support at 425. We're just barely shuffling around that area. If we lose that, there's 423.8 to 423.5. And below that, a bigger drop is going to be coming to the low 420s if we end up losing that support. As of right now, we're just shuffling, kind of stuck right now, so we'll have to see how it goes. But the trend, if you look at the trend right here on the triple Q, it's looking bearish, right? We made this high here, lower high, lower low, and this could be the start of a much bigger drop. So please be very careful and just know the QQQ is looking weak, approaching Nvidia's earnings, and always be very careful when knowing this. Same thing with Nvidia. The trend is looking kind of weak right now. I told you all to watch, excuse me, if we lost 680, make sure you watch support at 675. We came very close to that. We're still on a downtrend on Nvidia. We also got a triple top rejection. It's not the best of signs. Now, I just want to remind you, it doesn't matter as much what it does, especially going into tomorrow, because we're approaching earnings. And after earnings, that's when the real move is going to come. But as of right now, approaching earnings, Nvidia is showing some weakness. Now we have this trend line of resistance around 693. If we break that, 700 plus is coming. If we fail to break this trend line, we're going to reject and come even lower. 670 is a real possibility than 666, which is a critical level from historical values. So Nvidia looks weaker. It looks like it may have to retest 680 again. Not looking the best. It's favoring bears temporarily approaching its earnings, and we'll just have to see how it does from there. For Apple stock, Apple is looking, in my opinion, like it's downtrending again, continuing to just sink and sink and sink. I'm going to be watching this 180 support. We'll see how well this ends up holding. If it ends up losing that, we're going to be watching 178. That's going to be the next critical level. Otherwise, it's just continuing to downtrend. And we'll see how well it holds 180. For resistance, watch 181.36, followed by 182.5. As of right now, it's just barely holding 180. It's approaching some critical support. So that being said, the market's looking relatively weak. A lot of tickers are selling off. Let me call out some more tickers that I mentioned could see some sell-offs and also some other charts just for you guys. So what I told everyone, and this is the interesting thing, there's super micro, right? People were saying this thing is going to squeeze, it's going to bounce. I told you to wait. Don't just jump in for no reason. Wait and see where this thing bases. So far, it has not based just yet. We can't make that claim yet. People thought it was going to bounce off 800 and start pushing. I said, wait. Let's see what happens once it loses its critical support. Let's see what happens once it gets to about 750. It's trying to get back to 750. It's trying to bounce just a bit, but we'll have to see if we could hold above that. Otherwise, our next target is going to be down to about 654. And if we lose that, we're going to continue to sink at 650. So be careful. The trend is still bearish. It has not bounced yet. Truly hasn't made a big bounce and a big trend change yet, is what I mean. We talked about the IWM hitting 198. We reached that. If we keep sinking, 196 is next. Still looking kind of bearish though, so be careful on the IWM. Just a couple more. For Microsoft, we called out the bearish move that this would make. It came down to 398, but it's not fully done yet. It's back at 400. With this head and shoulders, it does technically show us that it could come all the way down to about 395. So there's still a risk of a little bit more downside from Microsoft. So just be careful with that. For AMD, we talked about some downside yesterday. Remember when I said that, guys? I told you to watch 168 if we lost that. 165 is coming and even lower levels. We came all the way down to 162. And if we keep losing our supports, 159 is coming next. Still looking kind of weak. For the VIX, we're starting to break out, but we'll see if this could hold the breakouts because it depends on Nvidia's earnings and other things like that. And then finally, Google is shuffling right now, not really doing a whole lot, trading sideways within a range. Excuse me, guys. I apologize. And Coinbase, still looking kind of weak, barely holding our 50 EMA. 164 is support. If we lose this, we could start sinking closer to the previous resistance, close to 158. And then we have Amazon. Let me see. Amazon's approaching 164. If we do end up losing this, well, you could argue that we have kind of like a head and shoulders like structure. So if we lose 164, a bigger drop is going to be coming to this imbalance towards 158. So there is a risk of this if this head and shoulders like structure plays out. Watch the 200 EMA as support. And for Meta, looking kind of a little weak, but not that bad, not as like as much as Amazon. If we lose support right here at 466, I'm going to be watching 460 flat followed by 455. Anyways, a lot of charts are showing weakness, so please be very careful, guys. I'm giving you guys a very important heads up. Let's see what happens during close. Does SPY close above 494? As long as it closes above that, it's going to be fine. If we lose that, it's going to be a bad sign. So watch that carefully. Same thing with Tesla. Do what you have to do, guys. And I'll see you guys very soon in a couple of hours for the final video of the day. Thank you for listening and peace out.